Okay. Hell yeah. We are recording, my friends. Okay, man, so last week and with many other weeks, well, last week and the week before, we talked while I was finishing a piece. Today we're going to talk while I'm starting a piece. Yeah, this is always like, I'm sure any of you artists out there understand that starting the piece is always the hardest part. And so maybe how I start my pieces could be interesting. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to talk today because, let me get into this whole process of painting a little bit, and then I can talk through it a little bit more. How am I feeling right now? Beige. So this week I'm doing a lot better than I was last week. Last week I was just I was dealing with just now realizing kind of what's going on and trying different stuff, and it wasn't working and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still dealing with it this week. And yesterday was really especially tough day, but I'm realizing if I don't fight it, then it's really, it's a lot easier. I was gonna say it's really not that bad, but it's still pretty rough. But it's a lot easier when you don't fight it. That's why it's currently like 9 p.m. and I'm just getting started for the day. But basically, I found a technique where I sit in a dark room all day. I don't really watch much social media. I don't really do much of anything other than just watch comfort videos and think about stuff and write stuff. And yeah. So I just kind of sit in this dark room, and it keeps the stimulus low so I don't get stressed out. And that has prevented these episodes. And it allows me to take little stints outside of the room where I don't get super overwhelmed and freaked out. Not that I'm freaked out, but where these episodes start happening. Started painting a head already. We don't need to be painting like that yet. The way I usually start is I just ask myself, how do I feel today? Or what color represents my feeling? And then I just start laying it down. I try not to think too hard about it. But today, I'm not angry or sad or anything like that. I'm just figuring myself out in the midst of things. And that's why this beige color, what's it called? Buff white felt right. Okay, that's a lot of that color. Yellow is calling. But yeah, man, this whole method of sitting in a dark room and just allowing myself to decompress and then only leaving it when I want to do a thing, that has allowed me to do much more things, which is awesome. That's why I'm able to paint today and talk to you guys. A lot of this week was literally all I could do was paint shit. And I think a lot, not paint, but sit in that room. I think a lot of what it is I was getting really down on myself because I was just sitting in this room all the time. And I was sad because I'm having to take kind of a forced break. And I feel like I'm just now starting to kind of hit my stride with my art, my videos and all that. So it's when you've been working really hard at something, then you have to take a forced break. Man, it sucks. But I've realized this is not some weakness. This is not something I caused myself. it's life forcing a break. It's my brain being too overwhelmed to really do much of anything else. And that is not my fault. And it's not anyone else's fault. It's just the way that things are. And so when I accept that and I just say, hey, let's flow with it. Let's treat this like a forced rest break. All of a sudden, things start getting a lot easier. So like the method or the message of this week so far has been just flow. Just letting yourself go with the flow and not getting, too attached to outcomes or what you want to do. It's more what my brain can handle, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm getting to a point where I know this sounds weird, but like I'll wake up and I'll be like, dude, I have some weird neurological thing going on right now. Isn't that fucking crazy? Like it's genuinely just like a weird thing to me now. Like it's like, oh, this is like a human experience that not a lot of people get to have. And then it sucks sometimes, but of course it sucks sometimes, but it's not all the time. Especially when I learn to flow with it like this. And so I'm trying to like think of ways to like talk through these color choices with you guys. But I mean, genuinely speaking, when I don't think about them. I just use my eyes and one of them feels right and I grab it and I go. Dog. That paint. Oh. So I have a big hole in my pants. I don't know if you guys can see this. I flicked some paint at the canvas and it just went straight down into my pants. That felt weird. Oh man. Yeah, man. One thing I'm learning throughout all of this is that I really do love this so much. So incredibly much. I think the message from this whole event, for me at least, has been one of like learning to stop trying so hard and stop, like take the mask off, you know what I'm saying? Like we all have these personas that we try to portray to the outside world for one reason or another, trying to accomplish one thing or another with it. But when you let that go and you just sort of let it come down for a little bit, man, it can be really freeing and it can show you things about yourself that you didn't even know were there. I've been watching a lot of David Cho videos. I love that guy. That's actually how I learned to paint. I started watching his videos and I was hooked immediately. And it gave me a really good start, I think, because it taught me to not overthink the process, especially the beginning, because I think one of the things a lot of people do is they go, what do I want to paint today? And then that pressure of choosing that, like a lot of times it might, prevent you from painting anything in the first place. When in reality, like, I mean, let's be real. Let's look at like all of our favorite artists, like Van Gogh and fucking Picasso and all different people like that. Like Picasso made what? I don't know, 10,000 works or something like that? Like he made a lot in his life. But how many master works did he make? Not 10,000. I don't know the number. There's only one Guernica. You know what I'm saying? Like painting and art is an iterative process. It's working on skill over a really long period of time and hoping to eke out a couple of really amazing things in that period of time. And during that, trying to stay as true to yourself as you possibly can. So I would keep that in mind when I'm painting, so I don't try not to be too, I'm looking for a fucking jar right now, and it's driving me nuts. Fuck it. We'll use the 16-ounce mason jar. I didn't want to do it. It's a little big for ink. What I was saying is like painting and like visual art, bro. I mean, there's cave paintings, right? So we've, as a species, we've been doing this for literally like, I mean, none of us were around back then, but like since the beginning of us. And so to get really, really good, it's gonna be a really, really long time and a lot of effort. And now we're in a point where AI is coming along and it's making paintings. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I like that nose bridge. And so like what we used to think of as visual art, like making a painting or a drawing of a person. I mean, sure, photography came along and very much fucked that up already. But like now, traditional art is, I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like it's long for the game. You know what I'm saying? And so now we have to kind of find a new way. And I think a lot of that's going to be based on just like how much of that human element that can't be replicated can you fit into your work? You know what I mean? And so like my point is we've been doing this as a species a really long time. So to get good at it takes a long time, regardless of if you're making traditional portraits or if you're doing what I'm doing. And I'm not, that's not to say that traditional art is worth any less than what I'm doing. I'm just saying that, especially I think a major traditional art competition this year was like somebody who submitted AI work. They did really well in it and it got caught and everything, right? But like, how long till it's not getting caught? I think we're all trying to figure out what the future of this whole medium is. But again, back to my point. It's been around forever, so it's not easy. It's not easy to make them work on it, to do something that hasn't been done, or to get really, really good compared to people of, the past. And like, realistically, we're competing with, I mean, art's not a competition, but our predecessors are people who had all fucking day and no screens and no TV shows and none of that shit. They were bored. And what did they have? Art. Obviously not all of them, but the artists had art. Man, I gotta say, I read some of your comments on last week's video, and man, I appreciate you guys. Such nice things were said. I always get worried about posting like my true, honest feelings on things, because it's always a vulnerable position to put yourself in. But it feels really, really good when you try to put out positivity and you're met with positivity. And back on what I was saying earlier, let me reiterate. I don't think I'm some kind of master or anything like that. First of all, that word is kind of misleading because I don't know that anybody ever has been. It's like gardening. There's always a way to improve. Picasso, if he was given 100 more years to live, he would have kept improving for 100 more years. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's a multi-generational sport. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Are we looking head on? Are we looking from the side? Is there a neck? Is there not a neck? No idea. This piece could end up trash. It could end up incredible. But that's not the point. The point is, for each painting to try to just be a genuine representation of how you're feeling in the moment. It's a journal entry, Rick Rubin says. But man, I will say, I'm very impressed by like traditional artists, which is kind of You know, it makes you sad when you see like the AI art doing what it is, because believe me, I don't have realism drawing skills. I make the paintings that I do because that's how my brain works. But I realized something this week about myself, which is somewhat interesting, I think. I've had a lot of experiences near the edge of consciousness, we'll say. And I think that feeds into my art a lot. I feel like when I look at my stuff, it feels a lot like tripping. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like the traditional psychedelic art where where it's kind of like an illustration of what you're seeing, but I think it's more of an illustration of how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? But I do feel like this week I made my best piece yet, from my perspective anyways, and that was the one that it's not in this video. Maybe I'll include a photo of it or something. But it was a short. It will be a short this week, or you'll see it on screen. I don't know. And I will say, it's one thing to talk through the finishing touches of a painting, but to talk through the middle of a painting and the beginning of one is a lot harder. Because usually it's just such a flowing process for me. I don't think too much. This is forcing me to think a lot, but maybe something good will come from it. I always try to see, I feel like there's good from anything. I always try to see that. It's not always easy, but I try. Here we are back again with the glued on acrylic caps. Smash it against the ground. Boom. Let me make sure this is still recording. Oh yeah, we're good. I think that this painting is going to take an unexpected twist. This is just water. Helps things blend a little bit more. We're working with acrylics. Uh-oh, we got a stiff brush. I bought some brush cleaner. I just haven't used it yet. It's like most of my brushes are fucked because I'm terrible at taking care of them. Oh man, this yellow with this black is getting muddy. Man, if you ever went to art school, I'm sure the way that I paint is very cringy to you. I don't know the stuff about maintenance of tools or technicalities. But I like it. It makes the work that I like. Back to Rick Rubin, he always says, not always, but one of the chapters in his book, how would you decorate? How would you decorate your little house you got? What would you do? What would you make for yourself? Make that for other people. Oh man, I'm ruining this yellow. So much black inside of the jar. Hey, this is turning out interesting, sort of ketchup mustard. So I've been thinking about this a lot. Do you guys think TikTok's gonna get banned? Didn't they have like a 70-day time period to do something with it and they just haven't? I think it's been close to that amount of time, but I don't know. It would have been 70 fucking days or something from when Trump was inaugurated, so that's February 20th. No, it's not 70 days, bro. That's maybe a month. Holy shit, it's been a long month. So I was reading today about, because I was wondering when the JFK assassination files are going to be released. And I think there's something like 6 million pages or something like that. And it's like, I mean, you know, once it gets digitized, it'll probably get submitted to AI and AI will read through it for us, right? But like, man, you'd need a team of thousands and thousands of people. So we got 1 million is 1,000 thousands. So if you had 1,000 people read 1,000 pages each, which is a big thick ass book, and then summarize all of the important parts. You could do that. That's a big organization, and that's a lot of work for each person. So maybe 10,000 people doing 100 pages? That seems doable. It seems more doable, but 10,000 people is a lot of people. I'm not gonna lie, man, I want to punch through that thing. Throw a knife at it or something, but my old ways of being intense no longer work. I have to save my energy. I can still be intense, but it has to be in more calculated bursts. This is just an old drywall scraping tool for like plaster. I like it the most. I have several palette knives that I've used for this, but and I even have like a big paddle, but I like this. Ah, that fucked it up. That doesn't look great. High risk, high reward. I don't really want to add more colors into this palette, so let's come back in with the buff white. Whoa. Take her easy there, boy. Sometimes I forget I'm supposed to be holding an underlying form. I've been practicing drawing, like more traditional stuff, so I can improve the underlying structure of my pieces. Man, it's hard. It's hard to stay consistent. I don't like drawing, that's why I do what I do. This probably looks like a fucking hot mess right now. Anyways, let me take a brief break from this because it's kind of going crazy in me. It's going crazy. I don't really know what's going on right now with that painting. Let me stand back here because I have a really shallow focus length for an f1.7. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk to you guys about today. We talked about how this process, while seemingly really difficult, of the whole dealing with the FND thing, I think it's going to be for the best, and I think it's a process of sort of becoming more of like who I really am and not putting on a facade for anybody. We talked about art and we talked about a bunch of other stuff. I don't really know what we talked about because I just sort of talk. I don't know, man. I don't think there's anything else I want to talk to you about, but if there is, I'll turn the microphone on at another point in time, maybe near the end of the painting, and then we'll pick it up from there. But until then, really appreciate you guys watching, commenting, and liking, and whatever you decide to do with the video. I really appreciate all of you guys. I hope to see you again next week, and yeah, I love you guys.